It was certainly closer than the scoreline suggested between Manchester City and Aston Villa. The citizens running out 3-0 winners in the end thanks to second half goals, one of them coming very early in the second half from Raheem Sterling. Route 1 football. There were a few controversial turns as well. The goal for De Bruyne, maybe offside with Sterling's involvement. We can talk about that, Janusz. But at the end of the day, it's 3 points that keep Manchester City very interested at the top.
I'm not so sure if it was all that much closer than the score suggested. I think it was one-way traffic. Yeah, it didn't look that way simply because Manchester City did not score. And that's the problem we all have, that we expect Manchester City to win every game, playing wonderful football, winning 4-5-0. Now, we don't hold that standard for any other team in the Premier League at the very least, do we, right? I thought it was very, very easy. Yes, Aston Villa was putting up a little bit of pressure, I suppose. That happens, but eventually I think Manchester City always solves them. In the first half, the problem was that everything was going down that left-hand side, but you know what? It was good. Sterling was really bossing and terrorizing Aston Villa on that right-hand side. Bernardo Silva hasn't had the sort of season that he had last year. I think Mahrez is much better this year, of course, but in the end, I think it was easy. I mean, I look at Manchester City, and even when they're not at their best, they're still the best team in the league. No questions asked.
No Sergio Aguero as well, with Gabriel Jesus getting the nod up front. And you saw that there should have been a penalty perhaps for Villa in the first half, which might have made it closer.
Yes, Douglas Luiz. It was Fernandinho sliding over. There was another Manchester City player. Yeah, I don't know if there was contact, but I mean, Douglas Luiz had to jump out of the way. I thought that they needed to look at that much, much closer. They did, but they decided against it. And then, of course, the second goal, De Bruyne goal, Sterling is clearly offside. He's interfering even without touching the ball. So I think Manchester City were lucky to some degree. But, you know, Gundogan scored the third. By the way, he was wonderful. Fernandinho getting a second yellow and red card complicates things for Manchester City, which, by the way, now probably doesn't have that many center backs, and Pep seems to be complaining, right?
He was complaining about needing more players, obviously with the January window around the corner, with suspensions and injuries, particularly at the back, which has been an issue, and now Fernandinho will miss another game.
Yeah, that's one part that I don't like about Pep, because he knows better, right? I mean, on the bench you have, who'd you have? You mentioned Kun Aguero, you have Kyle Walker, 50 million pounds, you have Mahrez, that's 60 million pounds. I mean, he's got so many players. There's some missing. I mean, by the looks of it, it was only 3 or 4 players. There's certainly number of clubs in the Premier League that have more injuries than Pep Guardiola. It's got depth, it's got quality, but in the end, great win for Manchester City because they were able to put pressure on Liverpool, who of course will be playing against Spurs on Sunday. So maybe made them a little bit nervous.
How will Guardiola feel about the performance in terms of just what is down on paper now as a routine win? It's what they needed.
Yeah, I think he'll take it. Again, maybe in that first half, but, you know, maybe we felt that Villa had a little bit more play. But I just think, I look at Pep Guardiola, he's going to say routine, nice and easy, fair play. I think he's going to want to rebalance that team so it's not just one-sided and everybody gets to share in the win as well. But an easy win, make no mistake about that.
OK, so Manchester City closed the gap temporarily to 3 points to Liverpool, who have the big game against Tottenham on Sunday. Keep it here at ESPN FC.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.